So the Lakers have found what they're hoping is their replacement for DeMarcus Cousins in future Hall of Famer, and yes, he's a future Hall of Famer, Dwight Howard. Obviously not the defensive monster, modern-day Bill Russell Dwight Howard anymore. But if his ego is buried, could still be a pretty okay player. That's the big question. And now the Lakers are already giving themselves insurance because it's a non-guaranteed deal and they can waive him at any time or whatever it is, you know. And then from there, if it didn't work out, they'd look for some other center, whatever it may be. But let's talk about Dwight. Is this going to work? Well, apparently Dwight Howard has become the Dalai Lama and is just super self-aware of himself all of a sudden. That was, of course, the big criticism you could throw at the guy throughout his career, right? He wants to post up, he wants to be the number one dude on offense, and it's like, no, Dwight, just embrace the things that you're good at, and you might be the best player in the NBA. And then, you know, that combined with injuries as well have made him what he is now. Is he going to buy in on the Lakers? Is he going to be okay with just setting screens and shooting maybe 5 times a game, maybe even less? Potentially not even playing above JaVale McGee, which, I don't know, maybe, I really don't know who's the better player between them. Like, Dwight should be the better player, but I don't know. I think JaVale buys into what he's supposed to do a little bit more. So I really have no idea if he's going to be okay with all of this, and I guess that makes it a little tough to talk about this because I could make this video 35 seconds and just be like, hey, if he's willing to buy in, we'll call it a day. But to stretch this out, let's say Dwight Howard actually does buy in, okay? And he's just totally fine with whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. How good can he actually be at this point in his career, even with all that, okay? So I was looking at his numbers from 2 years ago because he really didn't play this previous year. You know, looking at the rebounding percentages, he's still one of the best rebounders in the league. His offensive rebounding has tapered off a little bit. Granted, 3 a game is still pretty solid as a starter, but you know, you go to the percentages and he's in like the 30s there. But defensive rebounding percentage in 2018, Dwight was 5th. In total rebound percentage, he was 7th. And this is among centers, so that's cool. I mean, that's number one. Like, so teams aren't just going to kill you on the offensive glass when Dwight Howard's in the game. The box outs are there, and between him, LeBron, AD, solid amount of strong rebounding on this roster. Now, I don't know how much he's really going to play with Anthony Davis. Could be a lot, could be not much at all. I don't know, but I think another thing that should be said is, like, Dwight was doing this as a starter, right? Playing against starters. And I think whether he starts or comes off the bench here, he's probably going to be playing against bench units a little bit more. So there's a chance that Dwight could be kind of a monster on the boards against backup fives and all that. Obviously, the rolling potential is pretty strong. LeBron getting screens from Dwight pretty much makes the case for itself. Now, I'm sure we could also see some Rondo, Dwight pick and rolls. I mean, I'm not doing backflips over that one, but I guess that's a thing. Caruso, Dwight pick and rolls could also be a thing. Maybe Caruso's legit good. I'd like to think he is. He looked good towards the end of last season. Now, for what it's worth, if it's worth anything, I don't know. In Charlotte, Dwight's pick and roll numbers were pretty bad. He was in the 42nd percentile. But in 2017 for the Hawks, he was in the 83rd percentile in the league. So obviously LeBron's better than anybody that was on those rosters. So there's a chance that Dwight could be a pretty solid pick and roll partner with LeBron there. Dwight's finishing numbers are pretty much exactly where you want them to be. Like for the Hornets that last year, he shot 70% at the basket, which is basically in line with where he's always been. Well, besides him at his absolute best, where he was around 75%, but that version of Dwight Howard was like the 3rd best player in the league probably, so yeah. If we look at Dwight's defense, can that be a thing? Can he still be effective enough as a rim protector, pick and roll dude? Can he occasionally bust out the one-man black hole, your team is just not going to score because of my super intimidating presence? Probably not. Maybe we'd see it in the playoffs for like a game or two. But I'd like to think he could not suck on defense. You look at his on-off numbers for the Hornets. Defensively, they were about the same with him and without him, which I guess is cool. There was no big drop-off. The Hawks were a little worse with him defensively, but even then, a defensive rating of 105 for 2017 in over 2,000 minutes. I think that's pretty damn good still. So, yeah, he's not the one-man show anymore, but assuming that Frank Vogel is actually a good coach and those Magic years were just weird, then I'm assuming defensively Dwight could help out this team. And at that point, okay, if you can set screens for LeBron, grab rebounds, and just be solid enough defensively, then that's a pretty good pickup. As far as other things with the fit of this team, I mean, if Dwight and AD can work together, and there's reason to believe the spacing could be a little weird between them, but if that can work, that could be really overwhelming for teams physically. I mean, I can't picture a lineup with Dwight and AD and probably LeBron as well ever losing the rebounding battle, but also grabbing a lot of offensive rebounds. Maybe not from LeBron, because he's trying to move the least he possibly can at this point. But like, if you just told AD and Dwight, hey, just go attack the boards on every miss, guys, you could have a lot of success with that one. It's also another guy who gets to the line a bit, so could help him putting teams in foul trouble. It's a nice little extra nugget with Dwight Howard, I guess. Yeah, it's not bad. The other options were Marcin Gortat. No idea if he's still actually good. Joakim Noah, who was bad for the Knicks and might have been okay for the Grizzlies. And then there's Dwight, where, again, if you remove the ego stuff, I do think it's safe to say there's a good basketball player in there. Not super confident on that with Noah and Gortat, even if you're not going to question their willingness to just do whatever you tell them to do. So, there we go, Dwight Howard.